welcome back. It's a brand new season of CGL.
This is just an absolute treat. These players are so damn good.
The talent on these teams is undeniable. Everybody on every team right now is making plays.
It's going to be an exciting start to the season, and it'll just get better from here on out.
We're about to step to a whole new era of Overwatch esports. So much exciting action is happening here on CGL that you do not want to miss.
Look who's starting it all off. It's Raven. No one necessarily figure out what is the right way to go just yet.
What a nice roll through from Peyton. He's just going to solidify everything within those.
Does come back, and Arsario gets the mech, but I don't need a mech. I'll kill Thor anyway.
This is just a highlight reel for Arsario right now.
They're making a statement in the EU Masters here.
This patch is still incredibly fresh. There's so much to learn, so much to change about the way we play the game.
NKT, but the shatter is colossal.
Let's get it going.
Trades keep coming through. Laura, is he going to be able to find these shots true?
Idu on the overclock with 2.
Here comes the Nanoblade immediately into the back. Fine skills, slicing and dicing their way through 2-3. So back and forth.
Hello everybody, good morning, afternoon, evening, wherever you are in the world. Welcome on back for some more CGL action here. We are in week 4, prepping up for that mid-season tournament on the horizon, but you still have one more week of games to go. Teams aren't there just yet, but we should have an amazing match here for you. I am Megalas, and I have Wicca by my side. Wicca, how you doing?
I'm doing pretty good. I'm really excited for this match. This is a qualifying match into the mid-season tournament for CGL, so that both these teams, it's a pretty big deal for them, and they're gonna really want to qualify. So I'm really excited to see how it plays out.
Absolutely. We have Abyss X and the Godstack going up against each other. And like Wicca said, these are some intense standings here for the midseason as we actually get to take a look at where everything is shaking out right now. And in case you're wondering what all these numbers mean, I'll break it down for you. I'm the math person for a reason. The long story short is only the top 4 teams will be in that mid-season tournament here for the EUGM tier. So that means that Godstack is holding onto that 4th spot for dear life, but Abyss sitting right below them, just eagerly awaiting the chance to get into this one. The long story short on the math, Abyss just needs a 3-0 or a 3-1 to overtake. Whereas Godstack, as long as they take 2 maps, they don't even need the series win to guarantee that spot for themselves.
Yeah, absolutely. And, I'm really excited to just watch what happens here. I'm curious on what kind of compositions we're going to be seeing, just because, we've seen a couple teams start mix things up. We've seen some opt more towards that Orisa, while some still, want to play the Ramatra or rotate between the Winston as well. So, excited to see what they choose to roll out on, and if it is going to be changing map to map as well.
Exactly. Speaking of the excitement, it does not just end here once we get through this match for today, which promises to deliver, hopefully. We do have a match on the NA side of things. That's a great thing about CGL. We've got coverage in most of the world. I was going to say all of the world, but I guess we don't have an Asia region yet. But yeah, Sapphire Eagles will be taking on Guardians HC later on this evening for all of the NA people out there. Our European friends that are watching right now, you'll probably be asleep. So hopefully, you're not staying up too late watching that one. But if we want to get back to it, like you said, the compositions are going to matter heavily here, especially with what, potentially these teams are comfortable with as we're getting our first look at it. It seems to be Abyss to start.
Absolutely. And, Abyss here, they have Vimto on that tank role. It seems like they're actually starting rather with Revenge today.
Mm-hmm.
And then, oh, sorry.
Oh, no, you're fine. Continue.
Anyway, so Abyss here, Revenge looking like they might want to play the Diva, which is also popular composition to play with the Juno, just because the speed boost really allows her to be kind of a missile on the backline. So we'll have to see what they roll out on. And then on the other side, we have Godstack here, which is the team that only needs to take 2 maps off of Abyss. So they have a bit of an easier situation here, but, their lineup here, we have Kanon, Tracer, They're gonna hit scan Ekaj for Winston.
Yeah, you got the COD stack for a reason. Some of these names have been known around CGL for a minute. Tone Mikita, one that stands out in my mind, is a DPS player that has come up clutch time and again here. But like you said, these teams are going back and forth against each other, and they're going to have to see who can sort of come out on top in this matchup here. But there's only one way to tell, right? Because obviously people are highlighting their favorite hero. When you're in the GM tier, you might have to lean into more of those metas you were talking about, Wicca. It seems as though we might just have to, put pen to paper and figure out who truly is better.
Yeah, absolutely. And first map that we're going to be going into today is Antarctica Peninsula. So really excited for this map to come out. You get to play on... These different points really enable you to run different compositions here. You're going to see some of these points are more optimal towards a brawl comp with like an Orisa, whereas, the inside map might be preferable more for like a dive tank with the Winston or the D.Va. Being able to combine those things with the Juno still. And so Antarctica, a very I want to say complex Koth map to start on. And we're really going to be able to see what these teams want to bring out on what we can expect to see as we go deeper and deeper into this map set. Paraiso, Throne of Anubis right after that. So, we'll have to see. We'll get a really good handle on what these teams prefer in the first map alone.
Exactly, but one of these teams is going to have a chilly reception. Get it? We're in Antarctica, chilly, huh? Trust me, I'll leave the puns as my day job here. But yeah, we are getting to start out in our favorite sheet of ice here. And like you were saying, interesting comps have been seen across all of Antarctic Peninsula, especially when you're looking at, which specific sub-map we're talking about, right? A lot of brawl once we go to the sub level. And then, varying degrees of either brawl or dive, depending on what teams are confident in for the rest of the map here. So it is going to seem like we're going to be starting out on, I believe it's called the boat. That's what I'm going to call it. I don't remember the official name of the sub-map, but hey, that's okay. We're doing our best here. And currently in the spawn, both teams hovering variations of the brawl here with that Juno Brig backline. So the Brig just kind of acting as the bodyguard while the Juno enables the rest of the team to put in that massive amount of work.
Absolutely, and we're going to see the Orisa and the Ramattra matchup right off the bat. Both teams, like you said, running the Juno, they have the Brig as well. We do get to see a bit of a mix-up with the Tracer to the Mei and the Orisa to the Ramattra. As both teams opting for the high ground at the very beginning. Rav trying to see what they can do, but already going to the backline is Ekaj with the Ramattra form. Rav doing a great job appealing for his team, though, is going to be able to take that tank down. Easy tank advantage for Abyss. They're just going to march this forward, and it should be a point flip for them right off the bat here.
I mean, yeah, the Ramattra was just unfortunately isolated here, so it will just be a free cap as well as an extra pick on the Tomikita there.
JD
nice
doing
shot.
a great job with the icicles.
Exactly, that nice little icicle shot. And now, this is where the Ramattra feels a little bit inferior, right? Like, when you go in, you can get isolated from your team very easily by the Orisa or this Mei wall. So it is going to be on Ekaj to be a little bit more careful with these engages on the Ramattra.
Ekaj looking to see if he can get up these stairs here. The choke is difficult. Use the shield just so he can walk forward. The Orisa, though, Rav just doing a great job splitting the rest of the team off. He is going to have to peel back. Doesn't have that armor anymore as Ekaj going into form. Wants to push forward. The wall coming up from JD is good, though. Does a lot of pressure. Ram just has to put his arms up and try to block that damage. Cassidy on the side here, just looking for an angle, and it seems like Godstack somehow actually pushing them back here. Rav not able to quite hold that point, and the point will flip over, but the fight is not yet wrapped up. Chimp's building up to that ultimate, might have the Juno in order to engage here. You can see Rav just kind of waiting for it, is going to go on this off angle though. Brig not going to be able to survive this, I don't think. The damage boost coming in from the Juno is good. Cass picks up 2 on the side of Abyss, and Rav just running this team over with that ultimate, and Abyss with 1 ult used only. They're just going to take this point back, and 20% loss, but they do look pretty good here.
I mean, yeah, that initial fight win for Abyss was enough to get them, going in terms of their ultimate advantage. And I mean, Juno is just so strong right now, that orbital ray, providing that extra damage, that healing to the whole team. Now both teams heading into this next fight with a plethora of ultimates to choose from, as well as a little bit of a swap. Khan realizing the Mei might just be more powerful than the Tracer here, firing in those icicles. might just be the name of the game as we're looking for the next engage.
Arisal used by Rav does pick up Octo. They were not able to get out of that with the bash because Maywall is good from JD, but Ekash on the other side does trade out Kai. Kane is able to find their duplicate on the other side with the May, and a lot of damage coming to the Ramacha, but he just holds his armor up with that ult, is able to survive, and Ton Mikada doing a great job in this cast. He takes down 3 this fight as Rav his last 2 fall. Nope, Chimps goes down right after, and I mean Abyss, they had a good start there at the very beginning, but Ekash just traded out that backline.
Yeah, I mean, it looked bad for Godstack there, right, with Ravage going in so aggressively, getting that break eliminated so quickly. But now, Godstack, they find themselves in the favorable position in this ult bank. They have their own orbital ray to work with. Both teams going to have the rallies as well here, so a lot of sustain coming through, but Godstack just has more.
Juno coming out from MCG, it is good. The wall does go up, is not able to quite isolate Rav from the rest of their team, though, but the rally is forced out by Kai just to make sure that Rav is able to get away from that, and JD has the Blizzard before Khan here, might be looking for a win with that, throws it down, it is going to freeze up the Ramatra, barely gets outside of it. Ekash able to put that arms up with that form, block some damage as Octo uses their own rally on the other side with the Godstack, and Rav is actually the first to go down, just getting a little bit too frisky in the middle of the point there, and I mean, Godstack, they were at an old disadvantage at the beginning, but they were able to pull it out.
Pull it out in a massive way there, and that may have been a little bit of a misstep from the Orisa, right? Using that displacement accidentally knocked Ekash out of the Blizzard, so that freeze only lasted for a mere moment and just allowed that Ramatra to continue that survivability. Now, as we're heading towards final fight, potentially here, Chimps is going to be the hero player with his orbital ray back online. Meanwhile, Tomikida has this Deadeye. We know this can do work.
Wall already used by the side of Khan, does not have it to stop this push anymore as the ultimate comes down. Rav able to get 2 immediately. Ekash not able to survive. MCG not able to survive either. Octo does trade out Kai, you know, brick for brick, is able to switch it out, and we're at 20% now as the fight was very clean with the 1 ult, and Rav has their own Orisa ult to use on this recontest here.
It's going to be a very interesting final fight here. Like you said, with that Orisa ult looming, Ekash going to try their best to stall it out to get that Annihilation online. But again, Tomikida has been holding onto this Deadeye for a while now, and if it gets stunned out by a spear or anything like that, it could spell disaster.
Does a touch come through? And no, not able to touch. I mean, Ton with just having to like go for this angle, and Ekash trying to walk through, but the Maywall comes up, and they're just not able to touch the points.
I truly just didn't even think about the ability of not touching. But again, that's why, you know, you're seeing this matchup happen across multiple levels of play, you know, whether you're talking the OWCS or you're talking your plat games, right? Orisa just seems to have been brawling out these brawl tanks, right? She has the displacement, she has the ability to knock people back and, you know, stop the opponents from going forward. It's especially helpful when you're playing against those Mays as well. They're so good against every other brawl, but all Orisa has to do is fortify, and all of a sudden that May is the one trapped here. So heading on into our next point, we are going to see a bit of a switch up. We're going to have the Ashe in play for win here. Could it'll actually be matched by Tomikida on the other side, and it'll actually now be Abyss being the ones on the Tracer here. We'll have to see if it works out a little bit better for JD than it did for Khan.
Godstack now just mirroring that Orisa. This is a longer range map, so the Ashe is good here. The wall used early on the side of Godstack, and Rav is able to just, you know, get out, able to survive, has cooldowns available still, and JD, they're just looking for this flank here. They have the pinch, that looks good. Comes out swinging on the Ashe, is not able to find the one clip, has to just try to get out, immediately uses 3 blinks and then recalls. This Juno, though, under a lot of pressure by the Tracer, and Abyss, or Godstack, have to kind of walk forward here as the Abyss start forcing card, and Rav, full HP still, Ekash having to drop for the card, use Fortify early, Rav matches it, and Rav finding the Ashe on the backside somehow, and Ekash going incredibly low, does not have the support of the DPS anymore, as they're just pushed up against the corner by Rav, and, you know, this tank matchup is really just seems like it's in favor of the Abyss pretty consistently.
I mean, it's just about that comfort, right? You've seen Ravage be on this Orisa doing so much more damage, and Ekash has sort of been bullied into the Orisa mirror, maybe a tank they're not as comfortable on. It's going to get a little bit rough here, especially when you're playing with the Mei. It means that you have to be, you know, almost an initiator. You have to actually find value with these walls and be able to chase onto it. Otherwise, you know, Abyss's team comp, they're going to pincer you as we saw before, and they're just going to continue to get that damage.
Speedering used by the side of Godstack. Ekash looking for a lot of damage. Wall comes through, is good. Forces Rav to use both cooldowns to survive. Trying to live, but a lot of damage coming through from Godstack. Khan looking for an angle. Finds the headshot on Rav with no Fortify available, and the ult trade this time going in the favor of Godstack as, you know, that speeding engage with that Maywall just doing numbers for Godstack here.
And that's what they need to do, right? Just isolate a target, force cooldowns out from Ravage, and just make that Orisa really feel the pressure here. Now both teams heading up towards what could be a 10-ult fight here. People are going to be throwing things back and forth. I think the thing I'm going to look out for the most is probably going to be these orbital rays. Again, if they're used too early in the fight or too late, then it could mean the difference in their team just falling over or just not having what they need.
Absolutely, a lot of ults to use. The Orisa ult coming out, both Juno ults being used by both teams here. JD's able to find Ton on the backside though. No Ashe for the side of Godstack as Blizzard comes down next. Khan trying to flip it back in their favor. Ekash finds one. MCG finds a second. Rav going down to the Juno gun. And a lot of damage coming to the Ashe as Abyss. They just try to kite out and reset there. And, you know, ults used on both sides, but Godstack, they're able to come out on top this time.
Yeah, and I mean, that Blizzard really was the finishing blow on that fight here. Now, Abyss technically at an advantage, but this Pulse Bomb, it's going to be hard to make sure that it connects with its target, right? You're probably going to be looking for Octo on this Brigitte in the backline here, but these Brigs, they have some very good heads-up awareness, but actually the Bob initiation.
Bob used by both teams is actually Ton still has theirs. They choose to throw it out now as Win does it find Octo. Khan did find the Bob, and JD just forcing card here. The Juno is coming down to contest it, is not able to do so, and the point flip goes over. But Kai is already down, but MCG is so low in the back. Can the Tracer find anything? Ashe going down to Win. What a great shot from the enemy Ashe, and Rav able to come to the card now, use that Fortify, use that spin, just trying to survive and force this point here and make sure them drop percentage. And JD is just a menace in this backline, is able to finally find MCG. They were so low for so long, trying to find the Orisa next, is able to do so as the break goes down second to last. And I mean, Abyss, they only had to use the Brig ults only on that fight there.
I mean, yeah, and it's absolutely crazy, right? You have JD flip the point in the middle of that, so you now have a massive lead in percentage, and you could potentially be entering your final fight situation for not just the point, but the map as a whole here. Massive position here. JD has his Pulse Bomb still looming, and another Orbital Ray. Tims is going to get it before MCG, and now it's going to find value.
Has the angle for the Pulse Bomb. Are they going to be able to find anything? Blinks forward now, is able to hit the stick, but it's on the May, but the crowd comes out, but no! It ends up catching the Ashe instead. The momentum is just too far gone already, but Khan chases it back, gets the headshot with the Icicle onto the enemy Tracer. Ult used by Rav, just looking for the kills, but the Juno ult is amazing as Ekash able to find two in the backline for the Abyss, and Rav and Win will be the last ones to be on this point, but they go down after.
MCG got that Juno at the correct time. The Orbital Ray, you saw its value there. Ekash just simply unkillable. And now, you know, the situation has flipped entirely. It is just a Win with this Bob online for Abyss. Godstack, they have the Terror Surge as well as a Blizzard. That's going to be a deadly combo, pulling everybody together and then starting to freeze them. It's going to take a Herculean effort for Abyss to flip this fight.
Absolutely, and Win does have the Bob here. They might choose to throw it onto point there, get the point contestant going, but no, throws it into the Orisa. Ekash, though, just going to be able to survive that one using their cooldowns. Rav into the backline trying to find something as Ekash going down to Win. Where was the support from Godstack? And Octo using their rally at the end here, just trying to contest this cart for their team, trying to keep their dream alive here on Antarctica, but it does not look... Oh, but Ton is able to find one, Khan's able to find another, and now the point is flipping back towards Godstack there. Rav does find Octo in the back end. Khan, no cooldowns available. Does go into JD. Ekash, though, back in the Doomfist, trying to keep it alive for the team. Ton finds the dynamite onto the enemy Tracer, and Rav is 1 HP, goes down to the Ashe as well. Ton just doing an incredible job there. Throws to the Bob at the end, and they're able to tie it up, but the fight was really very back and forth there.
Chaotic fights be damned, you know. The God Squad, they managed to get it done in the end after flipping some pretty crazy fights. And so now we are going to be heading to the sub level here for our final point. And it's going to be interesting to see how these teams want to approach it. We've seen variations of the brawl for both squads here, but it seems like they've kind of finally agreed on a true mirror matchup here. They're going to both have the Mei in play as well as these Ashes online, you know, both being massive factors, right? We looked at both Win and Tomikita across that last map, you know, clutching out fights for their teams here. It's going to be super, super impressive, especially with both these teams probably going to contest each other for the high ground to start.
It looks like Abyss, though, they actually want to take a faster brawl here. Win ends up going over to Cassidy rather than playing that longer ranged Ashe hit scan. And, you know, both teams vying for the high ground here. Spear is good by both Orisas. Rav getting very low from the Godstack's damage. Maywell used out by JD. Trying to look for the isolation, can't find anything. But the Cryo being forced out from Khan by the Dynamite. Ton looking for value. Akaj finds one though. JD first to go down. I believe they had Cryo available. Spear coming out, looking to win, and Godsack. I mean, they're looking this fight up, but I'm not sure how JD was first to fall there.
It seemed like it was just some dynamite damage and just not really expecting all of it to come forward here. I mean, as we saw from that initial fight, Ravage just took so much damage on the Orisha, having to hide behind corners. It gave the space up to Godstack exactly the way they wanted to. So now you're seeing them already play a little bit forward, using the sort of middle ground instead of having to play all the way back.
A lot of damage coming in a Ton, is able to survive, and Ekaj getting low, Khan getting even lower, Rav is able to find the spear on the enemy Mei, and now it's Khan the first to go down, as Win getting very low in the back, does go down to Tanmika. Rav though, able to take down Octo as the Brig, not able to survive the Orisa damage, and those are looking to clean up the Orisa on the enemy time here. Ekaj getting incredibly low, spear is good, Chimp's able to find it with the torpedoes, and Dynamite comes out, not able to find anything from Ton. They still do have control of the point, but Rav just doing a great job shoving this backline back. Does not quite find the kill on MCG, but Chimps will find the trade onto the Ash in return.
They'll find that trade exactly where it needs to be, and so now, you know, Abyss will flip it at 41% here. You have some heavy ults coming up from both sides here. But, you know, that being said, I'm probably looking again towards these Junos, these orbital rays, and when they're delivered in the fight will be massive.
Wall comes through, but, you know, Rav wants to be here. Use the Orisa. A lot of damage coming through. Khan a little late on that. Cryo will take the damage, but can't heal it back up. And Ton getting very low. Win was able to find Ekaj on the other side as Ekaj was just trying to get into the backline of Abyss. And, you know, the fight was quick, but it was in the favor of Abyss, only using the Orisa ultimate from Rav.
Yeah, and so now with that Orisa ult being invested, Godstack, they're slowly building up their ult advantage here, but they've now been matched in percentage, so I feel like this fight, you know, it definitely should be theirs, but they have to take it.
Wall coming through from Khan, trying to find Rav, is not able to do so. Rav able to just get out, has full cooldowns available still. Blizzard coming through from Khan. Comboed with the Orisa ult, it's good. Ekaj gets Kai, not able to live, not able to bash out, and then JD next to go soon after as the Juno was popped there as well, just to keep the damage boost alive, but the combo just very good from Ekaj and Khan as they cap the point here.
Yeah, I mean, those combos being so crucial here, as, you know, Abyss, they're not going to have that combo unless JD wants to wait a while for Ravage to build that one back up. That being said, you're now looking at Octo having to time this rally incredibly perfectly here to try to live through Abyss, who they know they have the ult advantage now, and they're going to try to push with it.
Absolutely, they are coming up to this high ground, just trying to contest it. Win, though, finds the first pick. That Juno's exactly who you want, and Chimps ends up using that ultimate, looking for kills. Winterlix is able to find 2 more, finds 3 more. Dynamite is good, and MCG, you just cannot ego peak like that.
Absolutely not. I mean, Chimps does on the other side of things, missing here for the cleanup of the fight. But, I mean, like you said, Abyss, they absolutely just raw mechanic their way through that, and now they're putting themselves in a phenomenal position here. Depending on how long it takes Godstack to get in, they could be looking at a overtime touch scenario here. Oh, JD looming with this Blizzard. I mean, okay, yeah. Giving up the angle, realizing how close it is. But just, again, having this Blizzard, we know how impactful it can be, and it's going to force everything out from Godstack just to stay alive.
Godstack entering from this top, trying to make it easier for them. Octo using the rally early, just so they can get through the choke. Bob comes down from the side, or from both teams rather, as torpedoes are good. Cryo forced out on JD. Rally is used on the side of Abyss as Blizzard comes through as well. JD freezes up 2. MCG goes down. Ekaj might be next. Orisa used by Rav just to suck them back into the center. And Ekaj is next to go. Khan goes quickly after. Octo not able to survive. And Tanmika, you're a 1v5. Can you do it? I don't think the answer is yes, as the Orisa's just running at you. And what do you do when Rav is just in your face at the end there? Ekaj not able to touch either. The spear is good.
Spear is good. The back and forth, and Abyss will take the first map here. And, you know, interestingly enough, just this back and forth thing could be telling for the entire series, right? We talked about it going into this. Abyss, they know they need this win to get into the midseason. They know they have to do it in a pretty convincing fashion, that 3-0 or 3-1 scoreline. And, you know, it's going to be on God Squad to sort of formulate a response, because currently in the Brawl matchup, they just seem to be outmatched.
I mean, absolutely, and I think one player to look at with that is kind of Rav on this Orisa here. You know, Orisa is a very dual heavy tank. You know, they just want to take the tank down, make a lot of space after they're able to do that, and, you know, kind of win that cooldown trade. And it seems like Rav is able to consistently have their cooldowns available, while Ekaj is you know, either on a lower HP pool and has fewer resources, or is forced to use their cooldowns first. And, you know, Rav just winning that tank matchup, making the brawl look good for Abyss, doing a great job on it. And I'm excited to see how that changes on Paraiso, where Riss is significantly, you know, more difficult to run here as we go to map 2. And I want to see if we see a D.Va or a Winston come out from either of these tanks.
Yeah, I feel like that is going to have to be the name of the game, right? Like, as much as we were just hyping up the Brawl Mirror and how close it was, we're going to have to put that all away as we head to the sunny Brazil. Like you said, Paraiso. You know, it's just the name of the game with the map, right? It's just so dive heavy. There's tons of rooftops to play across the first and second points. Once you start getting to the third point, yeah, you could argue the high ground isn't as valuable, but there's still plenty of angles and stuff to pick from here. But not just the tanks that you have to worry about that come with dive, right? I mean, we've been seeing this Juno break backline pretty consistently, but then you look towards your DPS, right? And it opens up a whole new world of possibilities. The Genji, the Tracer, the Echo, all sort of start to become viable meta picks for you. And, you know, when you have all those flankers, it just brings a different aspect to the game.
You know, and one thing I do want to point out here is that the point that Abyss dropped there, they did have JD on that Tracer rather than on that Mei, and it might be a bit more of a comfort pick for Abyss to run the Mei over the Tracer. And because Paraiso is a much more dive-heavy map, I feel like it might be in favor of Godstack here to really, you know, come back and tie up this match.
Yeah, but only time will tell here as we are getting into it. You know, if profile pictures are anything to go off of, like you said, we could be seeing that D.Va versus Winston matchup. A lot of people would say nowadays the D.Va kind of gets favored. Micro missiles might just do a little too much damage. But hey, listen, I'm always a fan of the Winston. If it's played right, you can definitely get away with so many things here. As we get to just take a nice look at Lucio's studio. You know, you don't always get to this point of Paraiso, but it's nice to see.
It is nice to see, you know, Lucio just making his little tracks there, little DJ Frog. I doubt we'll see any Lucio from these compositions here, as you know the Brig Juno seems to be really taking hold of the majority of, you know, competitive play, and it will be the Brig Juno for the defending team here, as Rav does bring the D.Va out, and it looks like Ekaj might be mirroring it.
Yeah, I mean, like I was talking about, unfortunately, as much as I love Winston, D.Va seems to just be doing a little bit too much these days, especially with that speed ring assist that comes out from the Junos here. It just enables this dive to move so much faster when you have those boosters and things of that nature. Going to be interesting to see the attack Ash coming out from Tomikita, simply because you're going to always be at some disadvantageous angles compared to Win on the defense, just being able to fire off these shots wherever they want.
Absolutely, and you know, both teams on the Ash here, both teams on the Tracer, like we said before, it might be favoring Khan in that matchup, as Ekaj, you know, just looking to clear out this top side, is able to get that Tracer out, as JD getting very low, forces to use the recall inside of the enemy team. Can they get out? Double blinking away. Ekaj diving in, looking for the kill, isn't able to find it, taking a lot of damage themselves. They're going to have to pause and heal up for just a moment before they contest this high ground once more. Rav forced down. Does have the boosters available, might go on to the backline of Godstack as they, you know, they kind of angle around this high ground. Ton looking for something. Not quite able to find anything as they enter kind of a stalemate here.
Yep, just sort of posturing, resetting here, looking for what they want here. Because again, it's about diving, potentially getting onto the high ground.
Ekaj boostering into the backline. The nade is good when getting very low. This dynamite hits, and Juno Chimp's getting lower and lower. But JD is actually first to go down as Ton Mikita able to hit both shots on the headshot and body tap, as Rav ends up losing mech there, not able to get healed up by their backline as Godstack. I mean, it was a bit of posturing, a bit of back and forth, but you know, with a solid start, they're able to take first point, I believe, unless Abyss can contest this, but they don't have a D.Va mech as time is ticking up. Akai does want to look for it, is able to touch the cart, but gets incredibly low. Rav does get naded, but MCG going down to win on the other side, but can anybody touch this point as it ticks up? Ton says, no, you can't, and Godstack, they cap first.
And I mean, it's a massive cap, right, Perry? So it's such a notoriously difficult first point to cap. So to be able to guarantee that capture and get this payload moving is going to be massive, massive progress for them, especially with so much time in the bank here. I do like their adaptation, having the Ana Brig instead of the Juno, right? Valuing instead those nades and that sort of initiation power that comes with that, instead of the speed amp that you normally see with the Juno here. Only time will tell if it continues to pay off at the attack.
Absolutely, and holding the high ground here is Abyss. Win has this high ground available to him. Has the coach gun still for when the dive comes through. Is able to win the duel, double headshots against Ton Mikita, and Khan just contesting the card here, trying but cannot do it with the lower resources that they have now that their Ashe is dead. And Rav just, finding this inside as Godstack. They're actually holding their position as Ekaj taking a lot of pressure onto the Abyss backline. Rally comes through from Octo, but MCG goes down, not able to be kept alive by their Brigitte as Khan continues to move this card forward, but is stopped by Rav. Godstack, I mean, you have no honor here. You should be looking for a reset, but they just want to hold this space, poke back and forth with the best still as Khan just forcing this card ever forward, and Rav just having to consistently drop for it. It's got to be obnoxious as Khan recall forced out, but they're going to be fine.
They, yeah, like you said, a soft reset for the moment here. The payload going to be halted, but the dinner he's already in.
Answers back by the Bob, but Win goes down before any healing is able to happen. JD pulls his Octo on the other side, though, and it's a 1-for-1 trade as Ton Mikita goes down next. Not able to go deep from the Diva, and Chim's actually cleaning up that final kill. Keeps their Brig alive after, but is just barely clipped by the bomb. Ekash trading it back, and it's actually winnable for Godstack now as Rav taking a lot of damage here. Does not have any supports alive, but does have that self-destruct available should Godstack force him out of the mech. But Godstack, they had a good start there. They're resetting, looking for some cooldowns back, and they're just going to wait for Octa to return.
Just going to be taking their time and, like you said, having to wait, burning more and more time. It's great for Abyss here as they now only have this Diva Bomb to work with. Meanwhile, Tomikita going to be
triple
looking
blink
for the bomb.
in, hits the sick. The pulse is good. Chimps goes down. Ekash is able to clean up Kai next as the pulse damage comes through. Win goes down third, and a clean engage from Godstack as the triple blink pulse recall comes through. And oh my god, Khan doing an amazing job. Ton making it with the cleanup with the Bob, and it looks like Godstack, they will be able to push this in without Abyss getting a recontest here.
Yeah, I mean, it would be a staggered out recontest if it does end up occurring here, but it seems like they're more than willing to just give it up in posture forward for this point C starting defense. But I mean, almost 4 minutes in the bank for Godstack. Right now, they definitely are riding that momentum as they're continuing their assault.
Ekash doing a lot of pressure. Nate is good. Hits up Antis too in that backline. Ekash, a little bit out of their supports LOS. Will need to go back to get healed up. When taking a lot of damage, though, gets low. Is not able to get killed by Khan. Pulse pistols not quite finding their target, and this Tracer duel is looking good in the favor of JD, but recall using both sides. Mega still available. JD's able to steal it away, and oh my god, Khan getting so low! Can they get to the final bullets? They do. They were looking for the melee there, but is able to take Khan down eventually in that Tracer duel as Rav takes the advantage to start pushing out that high ground, trying to contest the space, trying to take it back for them. Ends up forcing the card instead, and Godstack, they have to reset after the Tracer duel goes in the favor of Abyss, but when taking a little bit of damage here, MCG kind of building up to this nano is getting close as Godstack angle around this card to start moving it forward once more. Nade comes through on Ton Mikita, but the pulse bomb from JD does find MCG, and you don't have your Ana anymore. You need to reset without your healing available to you as Ton Mikita, they're still looking around for it. Khan taking the duel against JD, did use that pulse bomb, so would be low on resources, and Ekash getting away with just moving this card forever. It needs to get forced away as Abyss, they finally contested, but it's so late. Godstack already have their Ana back, could be looking for something. As Ekash doing some pressure on the front, Nade comes through into the backline. Chimps is low if the dynamite hits. Ton Mikita on the other side, barely able to survive as the rally comes through just to make sure that Rav cannot pick up that kill. Ekash with the nano, diving to the backline with the help of Khan, finds both supports. Can Rav trade anything back with this Diva Bomb? It's going to be very tricky, even no, both supports are able to survive on the side of Godstack as the pulse bomb is used by Ekash just for the remech there as they pressure the backline of Abyss into the spawn, and it's looking good for Godstack to just end up capping this point here. Abyss, they have to touch, they have the nano boost, they have the rally right after. Kai taking that nano boost for themselves. Bob comes through from Ton Mikita. Win has it on the side of Abyss now, throws it out onto the card as well as it's just Old City here, and Win finds MCG as the Ana goes down once more. Octo did find JD, the Tracer, not able to survive the backline. Pulse is good from Khan, finds Sims on the other side as Godstack, they're still trying to win this even though they don't have MCG anymore, but Ekash eventually will need to back up as both teams finally reset.
The reset comes through, both teams tapping themselves out pretty heavily in the ult bank. It is only going to be JD's pulse bomb that either squad has to worry about for a while here. But you know, already seeing Godstack continue to be able to take this forward positioning. They've been getting away with so much free, just sort of setting up on this high ground. There needs to be more of an active contest from the defense.
JD, you know, finally looking to contest this card and making sure Khan can't just move it forward for free. Takes damage from the Ash on the other side, though. Gets kind of low, looking for some heals. Finally gets the pack. Khan not able to capitalize on that as the Godstack does move forward. The pulse bomb is good. Finds Octo. You do not want to lose your brig like that. The Ana now free for the taking, but Ton Mikina might be the first to go down next. But Khan ends up taking a headshot to the dome as Winrix, you know, doing a fantastic job on the side of Abyss, able to find that tracer. And you know, Godstack, they're looking good with the help of JD's pulse bomb and win. You know, the Abyss doing great for this team.
Doing great here as we're approaching what will be the final fight here. Ravage being able to get back in mech is massive here. MCG is coming up towards the nano boost here, and if they can stall this fight out, Godstack will get towards a lot of these ultimates in overtime here, but that's going to be the crucial thing. Overtime, it's going to mean someone has to stay on that card.
Rav eating the nade there, doing good job on the Steva, trying to peel this Nano as the Nano comes through on a E-Cash. Khan, though, wins the duel against the enemy Tracer as E-Cash dives in the backline, but no one touched the card! Khan, you won the duel! Where were you?
I watched it because of the fact that Khan was invested in the duel, just did not have the time or the blinks required to get onto that payload, and it just, you know, like I said, you had to make sure somebody got over to that objective, and nobody could at the end of the day. So it is going to be God Squad having to be content with the progress they made very deep into our third point here. Whereas, you know, on the other side of things, Abyss, you know, it's a tall task to get this far, but they now actually have a golden box of victory to take this map.
They do have the golden box of victory, you know, the C9 making it so they don't even have to push all the way to the end of third. And, you know, Paraiso is notoriously a difficult map on both first and third points. And if Abyss is able to get through the first point of Paraiso here, then they're looking pretty good to take that map just from that C9 alone. We might be seeing the Winston come out from Marav on the offense, though, which will be a bit of a mix-up for this team.
Yeah, I mean, granted, it's attacker spawn room, so I don't like to believe it until it's actually walked out of spawn. That's generally the rule of thumb because teams love to just debate. But I mean, God Squad, they've definitely have been doing, God Stack, I guess I just realized it's not God Squad. Has been doing a lot of work with this on a brig adaptation here. It's, you know, the tried and true instead of having to rely on the Juno. Just much more reliable healing and things of that nature here. As Win just going to take a nice little Widow shot, damage boosted and all, before everybody swaps to their actual heroes. But Ravage is actually walking out on that Winston.
Rav on the Winston here, you know, and Chimps and Kai on this on a brig, as we saw at the end of there. No Juno inside this time at the start of this map. Khan is looking for the backline, not able to find a recall, forced out by Rav, doing a great job just to make sure that his backline can't walk up here as they take this high ground. And Abyss are set up for the dive. Dynamite coming through will prevent it from happening for just a second longer, but you know, Rav's here. They're gonna look in. The nade is out, and it is good. It hits two. Rav is in the backline, and oh no, the brig has slept as well. This Ana on the side of Abyss doing amazing, but somehow the Godstack backline able to peel themselves and survive that Winston. Rav getting incredibly low. It does go down to Ekaj, and what looked good for Abyss is actually gonna go in the favor of the Godstack.
I mean, yeah, and it's some good stabilization there from the defense here, being able to survive that dive, and now Ravage realizing, yeah, I just got to play Diva here. That is going to be the name of the game. And Ekaz maybe a little overextended.
Ekaz is looking for a bit of a greedy play there, seeing if they could find the enemy backline before the respawn came through, but taking a lot of damage, has to reset. Is still low, does not have that armor available. And this is Abyss's opportunity. Nate comes through again, hits both backline members of the Godstack, and Rav is there to capitalize, forces them all the way back, starts taking this point as the Nano comes through. It is good in the nade as well. Ekaj will be able to find at least two in the backline, looking for their third as Ton Mikita trying to survive. Raveling to the side, Dynamite coming through just to get this D-Mag. Recall forced out from Khan, but will be completely healthy. As the Diva Bomb did get forced out from Ekaj at the end there, but you know, Godstack doing a fantastic job surviving these nades from Chimps.
Yeah, I mean, that's, you know, absolutely what's making it so great here for this defense right now, right? Being able to, punish the weakness of the Ana without letting her get any of the value. These antis, they're not being converted into kills here. That being said, now with a nano boost on the other side, this could be a chance for Ravage to go in.
Pulse comes through on Ravage, does remove all of that armor. All squishies survive though. Bob comes out from Wind just to force the cart. The objective will begin to tick up as the outside tries to contest it. Nade come through from Chimps though as the Nano is thrown on the D.Va as well. JD looking for the backline, throws the Pulse out, not able to find anything this time. The Pulse event finally going wide. Octo matches back with their rally. They want to be able to push out of this choke. But Rav just, really stuffing it. They're not able. They finally get out as Khan finds two, both DPS down for Abyss, but Rav finally trading on Khan, but it might be too little, too late as the nade comes through. Does the anti up for Rav? Bomb used for the remake, but will go down to Baby D form before it's able to come out. And Kai might be getting a bit staggered here. Might go down late. Chimp's trying to keep them up. Kai will get away as both teams reset, and Abyss, they only have one more fight here.
Yeah, I mean, again, there's some amazing kite that you're seeing from Godstack here. Only giving up one tick there for what should have been a guaranteed lost fight. And now they have the Bob to work with here. Tomikita definitely just going to continue raining shots. And, I mean, currently, Abyss really has to try to come up with something, but they're only
An amazing nade coming down, finds all three of the backline. Chimps and Wind going down to Khan and Ekash. They dive in and capitalize off of it as time ticks down. It is 25 seconds remaining on the clock. Bob finding Kai as well, and Rav does get DMAC, will be getting staggered here as the Baby D.Va actually is not staggered. Ton Mikada just cleaning up the Baby D.Va there, and we're down to a 15-second timer. JD, they might have this touch, but they won't have any support from their tank. Who will be the first touch? It has to be JD. Has to be the hero for Abyss. Ton Mikada looking to end it early. Hits the headshot on JD. Forces out that recall. But they did touch. Overtime will begin ticking up. JD able to touch one more time. Rav is back on the Winston. Is off the D.Va, taking a lot of damage. As the enemy just comes down onto the Ekash, though. The micro missiles, like you said, just eating up the health pool of the Winston. Has the D.Va on for the remake. Will does dive into the backline. Finds the Ashe. Finds the Ana. And no one alive on the side of Abyss is Godstack. They're able to take this map as a full hold Abyss.
And that's, the response back that we expected. Godstack, they looked a little bit uncomfy on the brawl, but once they're back in their wheelhouse with these dive characters, I mean, you saw the synergy, right? Ekash constantly being able to go in, either with or without the nano boost. The sync with the Tracer was there to constantly follow up on this damage time and again here. And it's what led them to such a good map here. So now we find ourselves all tied up one apiece.
Absolutely, and remember, like, now it's do or die for the Abyss squad. They can't lose another map here, or they will not be able to qualify for that mid-tournament. So everything relies on them winning these next few maps here, which should lend itself back to the Brawl matchup that we saw them win before, rather than the dive comp that Godstack seems to be a bit more comfortable on.
Yeah, exactly. But, both teams have earned themselves a little bit of a break here to decide if we are going to brawl or dive heading forward here. So we will be throwing into a short break. Go ahead, use the bathroom, get a snack if you need. We'll be back with more CGL action right on the other side. Welcome on back, everybody. Hopefully you got your beverage, got something to snack on here, as you know, we've had a feast of a series so far. Both squads pulling no punches here as we're all tied up 1-1 in the EUGM tier week 4. In case you forgot, I'm Megalast. I got Wicca next to me. And I mean, Wicca, these teams, they've been pulling no punches, like I said.
They haven't pulling up punches, and we've seen a bit of a comp disparity on what these teams prefer to run here. And what's interesting about Throne of Anubis is that it's actually, it's such a short range map here that those brawl tanks such as Ramatra or Junker Queen, we actually see those being favored over a more longer range brawl tank like Orisa, who wants to look for that duel. Is the backline here is so close to the fight that they're able to be ran on top of by the Queen or the Ram, and we've seen Ekaj prefers the Ramatra there, so I'm very interested to see if we will see an Orisa to Ramatra matchup on a map like Throne of Anubis.
Yeah, it's going to be super interesting, right? I mean, if we're thinking back to Antarctic for that first taste of Brawl, it was, Godstack trying out that Ramatra, ultimately having to bend the knee in the way of the Orisa. But like you said, when you're working with shorter ranges, there is potential to just speed boost past the Orisa, right? It's something to definitely keep in mind here for Throne of Anubis. And also, just again, with how new the Clash mode is, there's a lot of shenanigans that can occur with contesting the point, coming in at the right time, all of that stuff. But we will just have to wait and see, as teams that are currently getting back from their break themselves and making sure they're ready. But I mean, besides the tank, Wicca, what do you think is going to be the real difference maker in this map?
I think we've seen kind of a bit of a story between JD and Khan on the other side. Both of them very adept at the heroes are playing. Khan on the Tracer and JD on the Tracer. And when Khan is online, we're seeing those triple blink pulse bomb recalls onto the backline, things like that. I mean, he's just doing immense amounts for his team, and I think that's kind of an interesting matchup we'll have to keep an eye on here if they choose to opt for that Tracer, or if they play that Mei again that we've seen from both of them as well, or maybe a secret third option that we haven't seen yet.
The secret third option, believe it or not, it's Reaper. That's not just me being a Reaper fan. It is Friday. Reaper Friday is a thing in the community, so he does get that magical 10% power buff today. I swear it's real. You can queue up your ranked games right now and play Reaper. But as we are just looking at Throne of Anubis, honestly, how divisive the Clash mode has been, it's such a pretty map. It reminds me so much of Temple.
I mean, the map designer is always doing a stand-up job in Overwatch, even if the game mode, like you said, is a bit more divisive. And we're actually seeing Godstack here. They are hovering this Orisa, so if we do see the Orisa here from Ekaj instead of the Ramatra, then I might favor Abyss in that a little bit. But JD and Khan will be on different heroes. We are not seeing a mirror matchup out of them.
No, and I mean, like you said, that Tracer in play, it allows for more solo agency here on the Clash mode, but it means that in terms of the overall team fight, JD syncing up with Ravage is going to be a little bit more lethal and make Ekaj just a little bit more scared for their life here, as teams are already clashing in the center point.
Both Orisas just on the point here. Wall coming through from JD, trying to find Ekaj, is not able to do so. Ton getting kind of low in the back, does get healed up by their backline as, both Ashes just looking for damage. Dynamite comes out. MCG getting down to 1 HP, barely survives. Octo is able to pack them up to full HP as Rav gets very low, trying to capitalize on the damage that MCG took. And Octo, they find the first kill with the shield bash. Is Abyss, they're now completely forced out, and Godstack will take front one.
Yep, taking that first point, but they are being forced to retreat, so they are going to have to retake that space as they push towards point B here while waiting for Ravage to get back on the other side of things. And it actually is going to be a bit of a high ground attempt here. I really like this because you're going to be able to set your Ashe up in a favorable position to try to take this duel.
Godstack looking for a bit of space here. Ekaj just going to the backline, uses the spin, uses the fortify, taking a lot of damage, but is able to get healed up. Chimps incredibly low in the back. Will they go down? Winrix getting low themselves, as just Khan doing an immense amount of damage on this Tracer. Win getting very low, will survive. Dynamite forcing out Khan a bit as Son making on the inside. He gets down to 1 HP as well. MTG finally finding Ravage though, as Octo picks up the kill and win again after it, but traded out by Abyss as they take 2 down. And Godstack here, I mean, they're 3 versus 3, but respawns could favor Abyss if they get a recontest here.
I mean, yeah, there certainly is room for another touch to come through, but they have to make sure they actually touch the point.
They are able to get on there, but are getting spear spun off. But the May is finally on the point. JD has the cry available. Will be the contestant long. The Bob is available for Ton Mikita as Khan looking for the pulse bomb, throws it down, but no one is there. But JD, why would you cross the road without checking both ways? As they would just walk into it. Him using that ult, trying to neutralize, but Ekaj just hits the spear. Is that Hector with the 11 cubit long spear? Chimps, I mean, you're gonna want that ult back.
Yeah, you absolutely wish you could have it back in the bank, but unfortunately that's just not how Overwatch works here. Now, with plenty of ults to work with here, Godsack is going to be moving towards point A. Already 2 points in the bank here, but that's not how you want to start your fight.
Win taking down their duplicate on the other side as Ton Mikita goes down to the Ash from Abyss, and Raven's just looking for a lot of damage, hits the spear onto the Brig, not able to find the kill. Ekaj getting low, has the Result available, is trying to see what they can do here, because the point is not open for capture yet, as these both teams are just fighting a little bit away from it. Raven's taking a lot of damage, has to use that fortified cooldown just to walk away, as the speed boost is used by Chimps as well. And Abyss, they will cap their home spawn here, and we will be seeing a matchup on point B once more.
Yeah, but I mean, Godstack, they're more than happy to sort of take their time, let them have that point A, because now they're going to have the favorable position from point B. You already see set up here, Ekaj barreling down the spawn doors.
Absolutely. And, you know, Abyss looking for a way in here, seeing a lot of damage. Ton Mikita on this high ground has a lot of pressure, hitting headshot after headshot, but JD on the other side hits a headshot out of their own as Ton Mikita goes down to the Icicle. Khan looking to trade it out, does almost have that pulse bomb available, but Winrex hits the headshot, body shot, takes them down as well. Ekaj trades out the Ash from Abyss, and Octo says this is winnable, uses the rally, and instantly matched by Kai and Ravage on the other side. Octo somehow surviving for so long, eventually is taken down. MCG will be next to go, and I mean, Abyss, they're doing a fantastic job. They're going to probably more than likely capture point B here and will be tied up, but Todd Mikita ends up catching Kai on the other side, and Ravage, you might have gone a bit too far as Ekaj takes the kill. Khan is able to touch the card here. Walls used by JD, just trying to make sure that they can't get on it, but Ekaj barely touching as the timer was almost at the end, and the Bob and Arisol is good from the side of the Godstack as Abyss just severely overextended.
Yeah, and so now they're going to have to potentially make a potential sacrifice here, either give up the point or come in for another stagger touch, potentially off the back of your own Bob coming out from Win here, but it seems like, oh, they can't give it up.
Oh, the whip shot from Octo and Ekaj with the spear spin keeps Bob off the point. They are able to cap it, and it's now 3-2-1 as Godstack are looking to push forward to this final point.
And I mean, they've got everything going for them right now. They're going to be able to match Juno ult here. Khan, with this Pulse Bomb online, has been doing devastating amounts of work all day long here, but can it come up in the clutch again?
Ekaj marching onto the point. Wall comes through from JD, just trying to split them off, but the cooldowns are there from Ekaj to keep alive. Spear coming through, forces out the cryo. Octo finds Kai somehow, as the blizzard coming down from JD is able to freeze up. Octo is able to freeze up MCG. No supports left for the side of Godstack as JD just trying to get this card as long as they can, does not get that cryo cooldown, but Ravage is there to make sure that they don't give up the point as they march onto the remainder of Godstack, and they will not give over a point here.
That was such a clutch blizzard from JD, removing the healing from the fight here. Made it so Godstack had no chance, because you have to remember, with that last point as the attackers, you only need to get ticks on it instead of the full capture of the point here. So now keeping it a relatively close game, 2-3 here for the side of Abyss. They're going to be able to come into this one matching Juno ult once again here, but they don't have the non-favorable position.
Pulse bomb coming down from Khan is not able to find anything. Shimps does have the double jump, but does get dynamited. Kai finding the kill on the Tracer, punishing Khan for the bit of an overstay after the pulse bomb came out, and Shimps does still have the ult available if they need to use it. Spear coming through from Ekaj though, finds the Juno as MCG says we can now win this point, throws down the orbital ray of their own as Kai, can they escape? Ekaj just on a rampage here, hits the spear and the Mei is down, trying to find more, has the ult if they want to chase with it. Coach comes out and Ekaj will let them go, but the Orisa just doing work for Godstack here.
Absolutely, and now Godstack, they find themselves at map point here. They just need one more point wherever it comes from, and so they're going to have, it's going to be a massive comeback here if Abyss want this map to stay in their favor, but they're not going to be able to do it.
Khan on the main now finds JD on the other side. Duplicate down. Arisol used from both teams. Ekash though finds Winrix, has the defender spawn advantage though. Kai having to use that rally, just trying to keep themselves alive. As Ton Mikita has the bomb available, good throwing up point, and Octo using the rally finds the kill on Ravage, shakes on the Orisa. That's exactly what you want to see. Ton Mikita just pumping out damage, orbital away from Chimps, not able to keep anyone alive as the timer is ticking up as they try to cap this point. Ton Mikita still has this Bob available. Winrix is 10% away from their own. Touch coming up from Kai on the Lucio. They will go down so quickly as the Bob comes out from Ton Mikita just to do a lot of damage on this point. Ravage, can they survive? Can they keep the stall going? They fall into the hole, and Octo able to clean up that kill before anything else happens. JD back in the tracer, not able to find anything. Shims goes down next, and Winrex, you're 4% away. You're 3% away. Kai gets one more touch. Into the air they go, though, but the Bob is finally here. Couldn't saw the point out until they are able to come back. The respawns are good for defenders. Octo taking a lot of damage from that Bob. Bob eventually going down, but already the respawns are here. Ravage finds one. Ton Mikita going down. Shims with the torpedoes assist and just trying to keep up their tank. Will Ravage be able to survive? Welcome to does split up that healing. Shims though using it as cover. The other team doesn't know. Octo does find Kai once more. Kai's died 4 times on the same point. Can anyone else touch it? No, they can't. Godstack, they're able to finally take it away.
Taking that map, while the series isn't over yet, it does mean that Godstack have locked themselves in for the midseason tournament. The map diff just would be too insurmountable for Abyss to come back from here. So currently they're just playing still for a win in the series here, but they do find themselves down. Meanwhile, I mean, just some good plays from Godstack means they could be heading towards a victory of their own.
Absolutely, and you know, everyone on Godstack really showing up that match. We saw a lot of picks from Ekash on the Orisa, which is exactly what you want to see, but we also saw just, you know, great support ults, and Octo even just taking down their respective Brig on the other side on Abyss's roster, and everyone really showing up for Godstack on that point there.
Exactly in the way they needed to here. I mean, just being able to, you know, after the worries of first map, right, where they sort of got a little bit diffed in the Brawl Mirror, Ekash being able to step up in terms of the Orisa, as well as their Brig Juno play just looked a lot better. So maybe just having that practice behind them makes everything look just that much better for them here. But, you know, they, like we said, the series still going on here. There's still a chance for Abyss to try to make a comeback here, but it will have to be on our push map of Esperanza.
In East France, a map that lends itself to those dive compositions that we saw on Paradiso as well. So I do expect, you know, both teams to roll out on those divas. I think we saw the Winston not really work out for Abyss previously, you know, even though Ravage did want to try to run it. So I doubt we'll see it come out here again, but I would expect to see divas here.
Yeah, I mean, both these teams, they were leaning into the diva on Paraiso, and, you know, it is a very similar setup to Paraiso, right? You have that oppressive high ground to play on the first point here, whether you're attacking or defending. Whoever's able to control that high ground generally can control the tempo of the map here, and then as you're going in past that checkpoint, you know, you have the whole of the streets phase, tons of different angles to work with. I'm going to especially be looking towards our Ashes, both sides here. They've been putting in such tremendous work, headshots coming out of nowhere. Being able to continue that with so many off angles to work with, I feel like that those are going to be the players that are making the difference in this map.
Absolutely, and like you said, the Ashes just doing an amazing job. Ton Mikita on that last point there, holding their Bob, or holding his Bob for just so long to make sure they can secure that point, and Winrex is doing a good job hitting a lot of headshots onto, you know, the enemy tracer on Khan, and I mean the DPS here doing a great job for both sides, really, I think.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, that's the great thing about these DPS being able to do any and everything you need them to. You have your ever reliable supports in the back line, not having to worry about anything besides the straight Orisa spear. And I think that's something that we've noticed, right? Whether Ekash, you know, specifically talking about Ekash on the tank here, whether it's on the Orisa or the Devo, right? These initiations, whether it's spear, the boosters, what have you, going in time and again, being able to find those supports out. Chimps and Kai have, you know, it's not even that they're playing badly or they're out of position. It's just that this tank, you know, knows the brute force they have behind them. They have the HP, and they're able to just sort of barrel down their opponents and just remove those supports from the equation every single time here. So potentially might have to be an adaptation for Abyss, you know, make everything just feel a little bit healthy, a little bit more safe for their supports.
Yeah, absolutely. And Ekaj was able to, I think, to take advantage of the nano boosts on our previous side map more so than Rav on the other side. And we'll have to see if these consistencies kind of remain true on this map here. As you know, Abyss still want to win this match. They still want to take it away, and we'll have to see what these teams choose to roll out as we load into Esperanza here.
Yep. Again, we are, if I'm not mistaken, we're somewhere in Spain for Esperanza, and it's just so unbelievably pretty. Map designers in Overwatch, if only the rest of Overwatch could do as great as you do, I feel like we would be the best game ever made. But that being said, here, as we're looking at both teams in the spawn room, Abyss potentially showing us a bit of a different look here. It hasn't officially left the spawn, so I don't want to believe it just yet, but a Junker Queen in the mix could be fun here. We have seen teams try to run it to varying levels of success, and it does actually seem like they're going to go for the full Jote style composition, having the Kiriko for the cleanses whenever they're needed, and then also with that Genji in tow for win means that Abyss, they're going to be playing fast and hard, but I don't know if they're ready to be playing into an Orisa.
Absolutely, Ekaj will have to do an amazing job of buffering that Junker Queen from his backline, and we see both teams angling towards grass here. Abyss is there a little bit quicker, having that shout speed out of spawn as well as Godstack. I mean, they're kind of happy to just sit here on the high ground here as Abyss angle, looking for their engage condition. Poking, they will get first bot control as the meters start to build for the side of Abyss. You know, they standing in this corner, Rav just trying to see where they can engage onto the backline of Godstack as Ekaj ends up dropping to force the bot. Will be taking some damage. Shout used by Ravage, but Abyss not able to take advantage and dive in with it. And seems like we're in a bit of a stalemate, bit of a poke. Knife coming down does not land onto MCG, and Ravage is just taking too much damage. Trying to find the knife will go down to Mikada's Dynamite. Khan finds the follow-up kill on Kai. JDG going down MCG's torpedoes, and eventually, I mean, Godstack just really winning the poke war there.
Yeah, I mean, that's sort of the biggest issue with Junker Queen, right? You have to know what your purpose is, and you have to be able to achieve it. You cannot take too long in these fights, otherwise you're going to see all of that poke damage come out onto you time and again here, especially across these first points on Esperanza. It's just too oppressive of a high ground, too much distance for a Junker Queen to close on its own.
We'll see Win go over to the Sojourn off of that Genji now. Just a bit more of a true Jotes from the olden times. And Ravage taking a lot of damage to get speared by Ekaj on the Orisa. Shout is used, but just infinite damage from the DPS of Godstack as Khan continues to move this card. JD trying to halt it, but MCG picks up Kai, heals up the team with the torpedoes, and it's another clean fight for the Godstack.
Another clean fight here. They're definitely going to be getting the checkpoint and forward spawns activated off of this one here. Abyss, the only adaptation made so far is Win going over to that Sojourn here to try to match some of the poke damage, but it has not been working out for them now. You know, potentially they could try to charge forward with their Kitsune Rush, but they're going to be matched on the other side by MCG, who's getting closer and closer to this orbital ray.
Chimps does have the Kitsune Rush, like you said here, looking for an angle on it. Ekaj, though, is on the low ground, just making sure that the spot doesn't go too far as Ravage taking an immense amount of damage. Shout is forced out as Ekaj hits another spear. Full spot is out, will not be able to find anything as ult's just used by the side of the Godstack to force this point through the chuck. Bob uses well, spear coming through on Rav. They do get so low. Khan finds a kill on JD as Rav and Chimps is 1 HP. Can they survive? Still has a continuing rush, chooses to save it. Kai ends up building that beat but will not drop it. Rav will be the last to go down from the side of the Abyss rather than the first. Godstack only having to use Bob and Pulse there.
I mean, again, it's just a matter of the Queens getting bullied here. Junker Queen can't close the distance onto anybody on the Godstack and do exactly what Junker Queen loves to do best, which is continually do damage, heal, and be a nuisance here. So Abyss really putting themselves in a massive hole trying to make this comp work.
We will see MCG has the ult if they want to use it, but Octo just matching the rush with the rally. A lot of damage coming through. Beat is used from the side of Abyss to make sure that they win this fight. Winrix finding the rail onto Mikada, takes down the other hit scan. Octo no longer has that rally available. Is getting ran it down by Rav and the Queen. Axe is good as they take down the Brig, and Khan finds the trade onto JD, just trying to keep this fight alive for the side of Godstack. There's a lot of damage coming through. Ekaj finding Kai as well. Ravage finally takes down Khan. Is back on the point after their bloodthirsty hunt on the Brig. MCG will be going down next. Is 1 HP on the cart. Win finally finding that kill, and Rav has a shot available. Make sure they don't trade out to Ekaj. Ekaj just stalls this point forever longer, and Godstack, they finally, we see them lose a fight here on S26.
I mean, yeah, but I mean, it took a lot of time and energy for Abyss to win that fight here, and now they're going to be pushing into a similar situation again. Godstack is just going to be setting up across these high grounds, but Ravage actually does manage to get there first and deny the high ground space.
Does hit a knife onto Todd McKenna, is able to pull them into their axe as Carnage just removes the Ash from the equation, and Rav just stuffing this high ground here, does not want to let them through, has the ultimate available, will need to be aware of ECAJ with the spear though. They could get speared out of the windup of course, and how are Godstack able to get into this? They're kind of trying to wiggle their way in to this high ground. They're just waiting for their opportunity, letting the cart come a bit closer to them. They do have the pulse bomb, they do have that Juno ult, very powerful ultimates. Finally they start. No spear from the side of ECAJ. The ultimate is good, hits MCG. Will they be able to go down? ECAJ finding when to open up the fight, but Raven strays out for the Juno on the other side. No heals for Godstack other than Sprig, but ECAJ is able to find Rav. Rav just going too far without the support's help, and Kai might be next to go. Spear almost available for ECAJ, is not able to hit that one. Kai has some moves on that Orisa, is able to get out with their life, and I mean, Ton Mikita making sure this card moves forward, applying pressure as Abyss. They have to reset, they have no tank.
Yeah, just another reset here, and again, Godstack establishing on the high ground here. But Godstack, I mean, they have tons of tools to work with here. It's another Pulse Bomb coming up on above, as well as ECAJ's Terra Surge. It's just all looking like Godstack should have this fight in the bag right now.
Like you said, Khan has the Pulse Bomb. JD recall force by Tom, making that a lot of damage. And Khan is there to clean up the kill. Octo, though, does go down the other side. Pulse Bomb is good, though. Takes down Rav. It's a 2 for 2 as Kai ends up finding the Tracer, but they will go down to MCG. The support's getting active in this fight, and the cart is moving forward for the side of Godstack. Win not able to put a halt on that as the respawns do come through, and we'll see one more fight at the end of this fight, at the end of the road here.
Yeah, but I mean, it won't really be that long of a fight, as you see already. Godstack, they're giving up control of the box. They had to wait, get their team back into the fight here, but now this pull is going to be massive from the Terra Surge.
Shout is used by Rav to get in there, but ECAJ is there with the Surge to halt their push. Octo getting incredibly close to this rally, is Dynamite taking damage, and we will see a pause happen on the side of Abyss here, as not quite sure what happened there, but let's talk about that fight as we were seeing it play out.
I mean, as we were seeing it play out, I mean, Abyss was about to find themselves on the back foot again here. Their entire shout, like you said, stopped by the Terra Surge, holding them in place, and then Tomikita throwing out that Bob, being able to put in so much damage here. But, I mean, the pause was called from a Tracer that was standing still, and currently the rest of the team seems unaware of Abyss. That is why JD ended up making that pause call, so it could be just an individual play thing here. And we will just sort of have to wait and see how that shakes out. But like you were saying, in terms of how the fight's playing out right now, I mean, Godstack, they currently have everything going for them.
Absolutely, and I mean, Godstack playing a composition here where their backline is incredibly difficult to kill, and Abyss, they've opted to go more towards this, Junker Queen, Kiriko, Lucio composition that we've seen in previous metas, and while that comp is good, I do think it runs into some issues here where Abyss just is not able to get onto the backline of the Godstack. You have Octo with those packs on that Brig, a very survivable hero, making sure that MCG won't ever get too low that they can die, and I mean, when your win con is the enemy team's defense con, how do you break that?
I mean, how does the Trojan horse break the wall, right? It just takes somebody pretty much letting their guard down is going to be the answer here. But it does take agency away from you if you're the side of Abyss, right? It's sort of, instead of, okay, we're going to go forward, we're going to play our comp, it's sort of relying on mistakes to be made by Godstack to continue to get away with this Junker Queen here. There should have been a switch a long time ago, and we just have not seen it come through yet for Ravage. So it's just one of those unfortunate situations where it seems like this is the hill they've chosen to die on. And, I mean, with how the map has been going, this definitely may be the one they die on.
It might be, but Chimps does have that rush available, and Kitsune Rush is still a very powerful ultimate, so they could turn this fight around and see if they can get a snowball going in the other direction here. It is push. You can always come back. You can always make it happen. And I think if Abyss is going to make the reverse happen on this map and push those meters back in their favor, it really will need to kind of come out from the supports of Abyss here that we can see.
Yeah, as again, we are just simply twiddling our thumbs, waiting. Um, it seems like people are speculating that there may be some sickness that is occurring, a emergency rush to the bathroom, may
Mm,
be what happened here. But again, I mean, it's an unfortunate situation when a team member goes ill like this or whatever ended up happening, right? Especially when the team themselves, they don't really have all of the details. So all we can do is just hope JD is healthy and everything is okay. But it seems like while we wait for this to sort of get shaken out and settled, we are going to throw it to a quick break just so we're not yapping about nonsense. But once JD is back, we'll be right back to it. And welcome back. We got everything sorted here. It seems like whatever the situation may be, it has resolved itself here. So we have some more push to play, and it seems like we're already back in the middle of the fight.
absolutely, and when getting incredibly low here, Ekash did find JD after the Terra Surge. The Spear is good, finds the Ash at the very end of it, and I mean, Abyss, they have one more fight here. They have this Kitsune rush if they want to bring it back. Ravage shouting back to spawn, ends up switching to that D.Va for this last minute stall. Will come out onto the point. Rush comes from Chimps. Was a bit of a flank angle from that Kiriko, taking a lot of damage. Kai now has that beat available. Khan in the backline though. Ekash finding Chimps. You do not want your Kiriko to be first to go. Khan finding JD as well, and it's just a huge advantage for Godstack as Octo using Rally, wants to claim this fight, wants to end this here and now, making this the last map of the series, and Ravage does get D-Mag, Beat not able to save them when getting very low. Beat comes through just to make sure that they're alive. Kai goes down, Wind is next. The Beat, as the Beat health fades, and I mean, Godstack, they come back in and they end it there.
And there, a 3-1 score line is exactly what you want if you're God stacked, improving each and every map to the point of utter dominance here. Thanks to, I would say, definitely the hands of Ekash on this Orisa. Especially again after map 1 not looking that strong on it, just simply getting better as time went on and being able to shut down the other team over and over again and come away with a massive win here.
Absolutely, and you know, we saw Abyss, you know, they tried a couple things, none of them quite working out against the Godstack, as I mean, everyone on Godstack just playing very well this series. The supports making sure that they were alive late into the fight, DPS winning their duels, and Ekash, you know, showing up on the Orisa on this last map here, just in dominant form as they take that final point away from Abyss.
Yep, taking that away, putting themselves at a 3-1 record here, which will set them nice and pretty. Some good momentum to build into the mid-season madness tournament. But, while we could yap about it at length here, we can definitely get a player in to interview them and ask them all the juicy questions about how that feels. So we're going to go through to another quick break. I promise it'll be as quick as we can make it. And on the other side of things, we will have somebody in for an interview. Your patience is appreciated. We are back. We have our interviewee, our subject, if you will. Khan is with us, and I mean, just to start things off, how you doing? How's the win feel?
Well, it was a bit rocky on the first map. You know, we don't scrim, so we didn't know that Orisa was meta. So, but we integrated that into our games after, and I'm happy with the result.
Absolutely. I mean, the Ursa did look pretty good there once you started playing it. Eka's doing a great job on that hero. Did you guys have any more kind of thoughts on that when you were switching between, the Mei or the Tracer, or was it just kind of what felt better in the moment?
Literally just vibes. If I couldn't do anything on Tracer, I just went Mei, and if I couldn't do anything on Mei, I just gave up. Like, is what it is. We're just vibing.
I mean, hey, just vibes. Listen, that's sometimes the best team culture you could ever ask for. But I mean, it's getting off of the vibes, a little bit more of a serious discussion. I don't know if you realized it already, but you guys have now locked yourselves in for a spot in that mid-season tournament here in the GM tier. How do you feel about your chances? Any teams you're looking forward to facing, anything like that?
Yeah, I think it all just matters on how much alcohol we consume before the games. Because if one of us dies before the games, then like obviously we're gonna have to forfeit. But other than that, I am worried a bit about EMC Helheim. You know, I've been seeing them talk bad on Twitter.com. I'm not happy. So yeah, I'm looking forward to playing them if we get the chance.
Talking pad on Twitter.com. That's a funny one. CGL viewers, please drink responsibly. We do have to legally say that for the Twitch overlords. But yeah, and then Wicca, I think you had an interesting little proposition for Khan here.
Absolutely. So, I mean, maybe the most critical of things to ask someone: would you make the 1 block jump for the chicken or the 1 block vertical jump for the beef?
I literally have no idea. Is this Minecraft? Beef? I don't know.
Listen, so you're jumping for the beef. All right, you heard it
Yeah.
here first. Khan, very risky individual jumping for the beef. Before we throw you out, any shout outs, anything you want to say, maybe a declaration of war against EMC or anything like that?
I want to shout out to all the fans out there, Beefy. I love you. Thank you very much for the support. And then that's pretty much it. Oh, I also want to thank Ekaj for letting me know we had a league game today.
You didn't know about the match. Hey, listen, you know what? Doesn't matter. You got the dub. Go celebrate with your team. And like I said, we'll be seeing you in that mid-season tournament.
Yep. I'll see you all in a bit.
Such fun when you hear about teams like this where the vibes are just immaculate, right, Wicca?
Absolutely, and it's also fun when you hear a bit of a rivalry coming up between, you know, 2 teams that we're going to be seeing in that mid-season tournament. So, you know, watch the CGL streams, keep your eye on that grudge match to see the result of it when it happens.
Exactly. And speaking of watching CGL streams, well, the EU broadcast is done for the day. Later on this evening in NA at 9 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, we will have Sapphire Eagles versus Guardians HC. So guess what? You should be there. You should watch it. Unless you're, again, if you're European, you'll probably be asleep. But if you're not European, or if you have a bad sleep schedule, because let's face it, gamers have bad sleep schedules, you know, you just tune in. It's great. You can earn tokens. It's really funny. If you get a lot of tokens, then you can redeem them for things, and then Headrammer gets mad, and it's funny. But so, unless you have anything else to say, Wicca, I think we are just ready to wrap it up here.
I am all set. I'm excited. I'm looking forward to those matches that are happening later today, and for the mid-season tournament that will be happening, you know, later a bit down the road. And thank you everyone for coming out.
Yep, thank you everyone for coming out, and we will see you all next time.